And I started off the stream muted. As I've just said, I apologise for that abrupt cut, but I'm still trying to figure out the OBS studio settings and completely mess it up in the process. And the best part is I muted myself so no one could hear me. Anyway, how are you all doing today? Morning, Peter. Right, the idea of today is to try to recap the main board of the Sega PAC 2. Oh, that just going to come through on the stream bar of the new Discord? Okay, shouldn't do. Anyway, so that's the plan. We already tried to remove the... Well, we didn't try to. We did remove the battery holder last time. So what we'll do today is try to recap all the remaining bits. Well, try to do a recap. As for the socket, I don't know if I'll get around to doing that today because I just don't know if we can get the solder out of that hole, but we'll see. Is it? Sorry, I'll put it down there. I can't actually hear the relation of my voice to the... I can't hear the relation of the music to the my voice, that is. So I apologise. Am I muffled? Is that better? Yes, so again, I am wearing a headset. I forgot to actually flip the microphone down. Right. We'll have to play it by ear on many things as to whether or not it's too loud on the volumes, whether you can see stuff alright, whether the music's alright, because the way I'm set up I can't actually hear what it sounds like on YouTube. Because, well, even if I could, it takes about five seconds for it to appear on my screen anyway. But in any case, we are spoilt today because we do have at least some extra features today. Oh, I've just realised there's a little glitch with the chats. Why is that? Just turn the Streamlabs one off then. I thought I'd try to be more professional and it's not working out, as per usual. Anyway, as I was saying, we are a bit spoilt today because I've managed to actually get the second camera up and running. So we have a nice overhead view along with my standard somewhat overhead view, and I've just realised they're kind of upside down from each other, so I apologise. It seems to be working fine my end, Chris. I don't know if there's a problem. If there is, we'll have to see. My stream health says it's excellent, so I can't do much more. But yes, I'm glad to see that the actual stream chat and the view count is actually working today, because it wasn't the last time and I couldn't figure out why. Right. So, I'm delaying the inevitable, aren't I? I am. Alright. I'm going to turn the iron on ready at least. Let's get the capacitors as well whilst we're at it. Okay, right, so got our bandolier of, oh, not bandolier, is it? Just tape of capacitors. I haven't tested it. There's one big problem with testing it. The laser disc is still in pieces, so I can't actually, I mean, the drive itself opens and closes. The whole Laserdisc control mechanism is actually working, but the console itself, the actual controller board isn't actually plugged in, so you know, I can plug this in, but it's not going to work. I don't think this is going to have any problems, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm just going to put it to the side and assume it works for now. Yeah, TVs can tend to be a bit funky with YouTube live streaming, I find. I don't know if it's just because of the memory on them. Right, so we're going to follow a similar process to last time. We're going to remove all the same caps or same value caps at the same time and replace them all, and then we'll go from there. One thing I will say, however, is well, as for the actual stream schedule, we're going to try to keep it around 2 hours maybe, and we'll just see how far we get. And if I don't finish it in this stream, I'll finish it off camera, because I don't think I'll be able to do another stream on this anytime soon after this, so apologies for that. Morning, Neil. Right, another thing I've got to attempt, because one of the things I was worried about is all these connectors. I think that music's a little loud. Anyway, one thing I was going to try is these connectors. I'm worried about putting hot air anywhere near them. So what I'm going to try is to use a bit of foil to prevent it. And yes, this is just kitchen foil, but hopefully it should do the same effect as Kapton and the same kind of tape they use when they're doing reflow work. Right, so I think what I'll do is I'll start putting the foil around the connectors and the RAM. I might remove this EEPROM, just keep it out of the way. Yeah, let's do that. Unfortunately, I do not have a chip puller like Adrian, so I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. There we go, nice and gentle. Put it off to one side. Right, let's get this foil going. Now I do realise that it's going to cover up some of the capacitors at this point, but I will try to not do that. It looks like I'm just going to start baking this in the oven. Yes, I have once put a motherboard into an oven to try to... It wasn't to reflow, what was it? I think it was to heat, because it was like a 6-layer board, so I wanted to heat up the ground planes, but I had the ingenious idea of using the fan oven to do it. The only problem that occurred was every single capacitor exploded, and then I think most of the custom ICs fell off. or at least some of them. So it did the job in desoldering some of it, but not quite as the way I wanted to go about it. The board itself was a very, very unhappy Sega Model 2 as well, so they're not exactly the easiest boards to repair in the best of times, especially not when you try to bake them with the oven. Right, so that should hopefully at least attempt to protect the delicate plastics. Whether it will, I have no idea. And for anyone who is watching this and currently thinking to yourself, what on earth are you doing? I don't have Kapton tape, and I don't have double-sided or self-adhesive tape, foil tape, to prevent any heat coming off. Well, prevent any heat getting to places where I don't want it to. So this, I feel, is the second best option. Right, so I've got the iron set to 320 and I've got the hot air station set to 350. I think that was good settings to use last time, but this is at least a 4-layer board, so it may or may not require a bit more heat. This is at least a 4-layer board. It might even be a 6-layer, but I don't know. Right, let's have a go, shall we? I think what I'll do is I'll start with the 10 microfarads first, and go from there. And what I'm going to do is be very careful of touching the ICs, because I can't protect them with any double-sided. I can heat them up like this, it'll be fine, just doing it gently. But what I want to do is not touch them, the pins, with my tools whilst I do it, because otherwise what will happen is it'll either cause solder bridges or pins to become unstuck, and neither of which is a good idea. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. If the first couple of caps don't go to plan, then I'm not going to bother. At least I'm going to replace what I have done and go from there. That's why I'm using hot air. I can use an iron. I could use soldering tweezers if I had them, but hot air is possibly one of the safer options, given the circumstances. Besides, these boards were built with hot air, so it should be able to repair it with hot air. Okay, so someone remind me later on that C337 doesn't actually have a capacitor on there. Well, they're coming off nicely so far. In fact, one thing I should check is that they are actually all 10s. Yes. Ah! That one was hot. I mean, I did just heat it up with a hot air gun. Yeah, it's amazing, Chris, how many people, you know, it doesn't matter their experience, doesn't matter what they've done for a living, they just, you know, some people just never heard of these techniques. And this is why I say, if there is someone who knows a technique that does work, I'd like to hear about it, because everything I've done has always been for my own pleasure, well, my own leisure, or my own projects. It's never been for work as such. So given that, I've just never been taught, like trained or taught in any different way to what I already knew. Yeah, solder socket doesn't work with this as well, so and the reason I was using the solder sucker last time is to clear the holes for the battery. I would have used braid, but I haven't got any at the minute. I'm actually waiting for a pack of 5 rolls to come in from eBay, which is of course going to be goot wick stuff, so excellent quality. I really should have waited for them to turn up before I did this stream, but this is the only time I would be able to do it for a few weeks. So, okay, and I like doing the streams. It's like the most laziest form of content creation. Well, so far they're coming off quite nicely. So maybe we'll be in luck when it comes to soldering the new ones on. I know that Neil at RMC had a load of trouble when he was doing the recap on his Laseractive. Does he own that, or was that a or was that just brought in for like a show and tell almost? Well, Andrew, you'll be happy to know that the Laseractive is about 70% assembled. It does work still, and great thing about doing a video series on it is the fact I have all the footage of me taking it apart. So there's no way I could possibly not know how it went, but to get how it came apart. You know what? I'm surprised that the sorry, it's all smoky, but it's not going to focus on that, is it? The plastic isn't actually melting on the bases of the caps, despite the hot air. So, I mean, they're starting to deform, but they're not like melting like they were in the other board. Ah, he does own it, does he? I thought he would. I will say though, I don't blame him for not wanting to recap all the analog and control boards on the inside of the Laseractive and just doing the Sega PAC. These SMD caps are more likely to go, but there is hundreds, literal hundreds of capacitors on the inside of the Laseractive, as you probably saw. what I'm gonna do is bring out the pop-out chat, because I can't. It's kind of difficult to see what you guys are saying. Yeah, if you could get me one as well, Chris. Just drop it by the door. I'll pick it up in a second. I'm getting that fish smell again, so either the seals are going as I'm desoldering them, or these caps are about to die. No, don't do that. I need it to bolster my nerves. Right. You guys can see everything, alright? And nothing wrong on your ends? It's alright, so I had I was having my cereal literally as the pre-show was going on. So as you were all listening to, well, Smooth Jazz and Kevin MacLeod, or MacLeod, whatever it is, I was just having my cereal. Spent all morning, I woke up at about 7:45 and spent all morning setting up the stream, setting up the PC, setting up all the screens up. And then I decided to try to get that countdown going. With about 15 minutes to spare. Yeah, I always say Kevin MacLeod because, well, Fox MacLeod from Star Fox. And it's something very similar. It's like MacLeod or something like that. Although, one of the things he's got on his YouTube, well, the YouTube audio library is the, what's it called? The morning weather report. And it's a heavily distorted song. I don't know why it's so distorted, but it is. You haven't missed much, to be fair. I completely messed it up anyway. Right. So we've got one more down there, a few up the top, and then I think we've got the majority of the ones desoldered. Oh, there's one that was hidden. Right, this is where I get worried because this ROM socket and these RAM chips are right next to each other. Oh, the music stopped. Whoops. No, we've just had that one. Right. I have no hope of those coming off, those two right there coming off very easily. but we shall attempt it. So I suppose I don't need to worry too much about the RAM because it was soldered in at excessive heat, so I just won't keep it on there for too long. One. Right. Just want to check that connector just to make sure. Check the plastic. See if my idea worked or is it a bad idea. Okay, it's a mixed bag. It does seem to have helped reduce any damage, but it still was getting toasty underneath there, so you just have to be very cautious around everything else. The tin foil is not to stop 5Gs, because that's a stupid notion. It is to prevent heat from going onto, well, to try and reflect any heat off of delicate stuff such as the plastic connectors that are all around on this board. I'm completely out of shot, apologies. So that's the theory. We'll only know when I remove everything whether it's actually worked or not. I think the ROM socket was a little unhappy, but it doesn't look to be as damaged as it would have otherwise without the foil. And I'm getting a good amount of heat into my hand, so it should be reflecting some of most of it away from parts I don't want it to get to. Yeah, I would do that to the chips here, because I don't want to desolder them, and some of these are incredibly fine pitched stuff. But even if I heat up a capacitor that's nearby, for example, get off the thing, and I say start melting the solder on these pins, as long as I don't touch it, and as long as it cools down evenly, it will just resolder itself back to the board. It's not ideal, but it will be fine. But yes, normally what you do is literally cover up everything except for the parts you're working on. Like if you're going to paint something. Really? Right. I'm going to think what I'll do. I think I got all the 10 microfarads off. I'll start soldering the 10 microfarads back on, and then when we've done the 10 microfarads, what we'll do is we'll start desoldering the other ones. Or, you know, maybe what we should do is do it a little different. And I know I say I like to keep them, like, removing the components all as one value, so it's easy for me to track, but if I take off all the capacitors, then I can take off this foil, because I don't think I'll need hot air. Because when I start using hot air around these ones, then these capacitors might unsolder. I don't have any Kapton tape. I was just explaining this beforehand. This is the closest I have to either Kapton tape or self-adhesive tape, or self-adhesive foil tape, which is what some people use when they're doing reflows for GPUs and stuff like that. Right, how many? Good lord, we've removed quite a lot then. It's 31 capacitors. Morning, Ralph. How are you doing? Nice to have you on the stream. Right, I believe that should be plenty. Right, yeah, I think what I'll do then is I'll leave the 10 microfarads off around the big capacitors, and then I'll solder every other 10 microfarad on, because then I can heat gun these off individually and replace them. I can relate with you there, Ralph, because whenever I'm doing filming work up in my unit, it's cold, it's miserable. Except in the summer, and then it's hot and it's miserable. Well, so far it seems to be that these capacitor pads are quite happy to be reflowed, so still so cold, is it down there, Ralph? We are at about 8 or 10 around here. It almost feels warm. It's been warm for about a week near enough here in the southwest. See, it seems like that Sega have at least put thermal relief on these pads. So I thank them in that sense. Oh, that's very cold, Chris. Very cold. Hopefully I can try to avoid soldering to the cap bases again. That was a common theme last time. Yet another thing that I am waiting for on an eBay order, a flux pen. I think this is going to go quite nicely actually. These caps are, well, so far I've only done one. They seem to be going on quite nicely. I was debating how I would deal with a nightmare of a recap job on one of these. Also, if anyone's curious, the reason I seem to go and add more solder to a leg is because this is rosin core solder. It means it's got flux integrated, so when you melt it, the flux comes out of it naturally. So what I'm doing is I'm using that fact, well, because I don't have a flux pen, I'm using the solder to just add a tiniest amount of flux so that it flows nicely. So it flows between the pad and the capacitor leg, and it doesn't get soldered onto the can, or just have spikes everywhere. So I'm not adding excess solder. I don't. At the minute I'm not using anything, I'm just using my naked eyes. But I still have the eyes of a young lad, so I can see quite clearly. I'm sure in a decade or so that'll change. But whilst I can use them as I can, I'm going to exploit that fact. That said, trying to find a position whereby you can see everything and I can solder is an altogether different issue. Okay, that one wasn't so centered, but it is soldered. He says as he desolders it. Kind of why actually I went up to having the camera up above, is so that even if you couldn't see with this one, you should be able to see up with the top one. Okay, that one seems to have gone on. It's on there at least. I apologise about the cars passing. I have to have the window open, and we happen to live on a near enough main road. Okay, this is where it's going to get interesting. Because what I'm finding here is that if the iron isn't directly heating the pad when the cap is on it, it just instantly cools down because of the multiple power planes on the inside of, well, the inner planes. Okay, that was not working so well. I've tried to use the magnifying glasses and that before. I just find they get annoying. And whilst I can still see stuff as clearly as I can, I'm just, as I said, exploiting that fact. Okay, that one took a little more effort to solder in, but it's on. I'll tell you a story that I have with S&D, or at least one of my least favourite repairs I've ever done. I don't think it was actually successful in the end either. So these chips here, these Sega Customs, they're quite fine pitch devices. I couldn't tell you how fine they are. I want to say 0.5 of a millimeter pin pitch, but I'm not entirely certain on that. But what I will say is that I had a it was a Midway Seattle motherboard. I say I had one, or I had multiple. At one point I had 5, because they are the most unreliable boards I've ever worked on. And usually it's because of one singular IC failure. There's a chip on the almost direct middle of the board. It's above the... So if the jammer connector was here, it was about here on the motherboard. And this motherboard relies on that to function. This chip is, I think I've said it was a Galileo chip. And the problem I had with it, I think that's the beamer going past. The problem I had with it was the pin pitch was so fine you couldn't work on it really. And the other problem I had with it was that the board itself was so large. It was almost A3 sized, like an A3 paper sized board. It was so large that flexing, you know, a slight bit of flexing during shipping, or like warping because of age or use or heat, and these pins would just either become like snap off or become otherwise desoldered. And I had multiple boards do that, and it was always this Galileo chip, and because the pin pitch was so fine on it, I couldn't ever fully get one working. So in the end I ended up having to buy, like, I think it was the 4th or 5th board I got, and I just said to the seller, look, I will happily do whatever it needs to be to, you know, I'll happily pay whatever shipping you want, just do not be stupid with it. And that one ended up working because the board didn't flex at all. And then instead, a inductor on the composite sync line of the jammer connector failed. So I think there's a guy called Andy Geezer who he was looking for Midway Seattle boards for for quite a while, because like I said, they're just so prone to failure. I think the guy's not really doing too well in business anymore, which is a shame. He's had a rather hard life. I don't know if he's still going. Right, I must admit, this is going far easier than I thought it would, because I'd assumed that with the board being the way it was, it would be a real pain in the derriere. But it doesn't seem to be the case, which I'm really, really thankful of. Oh, that's the wrong one. What am I doing? Ay. Okay, let's just do it this way. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do the most difficult one first, I think. And then make it work my way to be an easier way. Easier side. Whatever. You know what I meant. I have a feeling if Neil was seeing how easy it was to do all of these capacitors, he'd be asking me to do the rest of his Laseractive stuff. To which I don't know how I'd reply. Because one Laseractive repair series and recap is enough for my lifetime. But then Neil does do a lot of good things and helps out a lot of people, so okay, so this is where I was expecting we'd have issues. Seems like on the ground side of these capacitors, they sometimes, when they're soldered, no longer want to heat up fully anymore. So didn't we just not have that song? I'm going to need to get more. I said this last time, but I'm going to need to get more music for the streams, because they do. The very tiny playlist does tend to repeat quite often. And none of my compositions are worthy enough, I think, to have as background music. Sorry if I knock the microphone as well, because I know it probably doesn't sound so pleasant, especially for headphone users. Must admit, I'm still slightly surprised about the turnout, just because of it being in the morning. I would have thought many people have a lot of things to do in the morning, rather than watch me wrestle with SMT caps. Still, I'm grateful. Thank you for all the ones who are joining me. I'm usually in bed until about that time, unless there's something important happening. Yeah. Usually it hits me that on Sunday evening, that the next day is Monday, at which point I just cry. What happened to all the time? Speaking to the owner of this yesterday, said to him what the state of the machine is, or at least how it is getting there slowly. Unfortunately, I had ordered drive belts from China. At first it wasn't intentional. I didn't want to get stuff from Shenzhen, only because I wanted to get this done. I didn't want to wait up to a month for delivery. But then I had the issue of I couldn't find a specific belt in the UK, because it was a very specific size. It's 1.5mm by 38, I think it was, but just people didn't seem to sell it, or if they did, it wasn't in stock. So had no real choice. Come on, just go down a little bit, please. Okay, that'll do. Next time I'll find a way of making it so that the camera's a little closer to me, because it's difficult to have it in shot and also see what I'm doing. I think next time I should get some an Amiga A600 and just see how hard that is. Because if this is supposedly difficult, and it is, it's challenging, but it's not as much of a nightmare as I feared it might be. Oh yes, C337. Don't solder one there. Yeah, that's true. These, I've been quite grateful that these haven't actually leaked. I think I said it last time, but the guy, the Mac Classic 2 motherboard, I recapped that recently, and that one looked like it'd been attacked, not by capacitor juice necessarily, but by someone who was repairing it. And then I attacked it. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I mean, it's soldered, but yeah, it's twice I've touched myself with the iron. I'm still surprised I've not burnt myself. Right, okay, that one's off kilter, but it is soldered, so I think I'll leave it and see how we get on. Right, we're about halfway there, I think. I'm going to leave this section like I said. I'll do these and then we'll come back. Speaking of that Mac Classic 2, I replaced the yoke driver IC, as I think I said. Darn thing still doesn't work. I think the seller sold me a faulty chip, not intentionally, of course. But it certainly doesn't work now. Well, it certainly isn't working with the new one installed. I went around and checked all the passives, and it seemed to be fine, except for two capacitors, which tried to desolder them and they just... the legs pulled straight out of them. I don't think that was... don't think that was necessarily causing the fault. That's alright, Ralph. I'm just still appreciating the fact that you're willing to watch. Please don't fall off. I don't know about you guys, but I associate this song entirely with Adrian's Digital Basement. Every time I hear it, I just think I'm watching one of his episodes. Point of sale or piece of something or other? Oh! There we go. I have my light on a IKEA switch. Didn't realise I had it so close to me. Aye, aye. You trying to install Windows XP on it? Is that just the case? Oh dear, what's going on with this socket? Why is he not letting go of the tin foil? Okay, that's not good. That's very not good. Okay, yeah, right, so this is why I wanted to use a tin foil. It hasn't worked exactly in this case, and I'll show you why in a second. Well, the fact I'm having to use a screwdriver to scrape off the tin foil should give you a good clue. Good lord, that is stuck on there. Right, so where are we in relation? It would help if I could actually see what the camera was seeing. Right, so do you see the ROM socket there? Yeah, all that tinfoil stuck on there. that started to melt a little bit, which is what I was worried would happen. It would have been far worse if I hadn't had it there, but because of the close proximity to those capacitors, yeah, it's just, I don't think though it's gonna affect the socket. I think it's just more cosmetic, if anything. This is why you've got to be really careful with hot air, especially around plastic. I think I'm going to have to go get my little blade for this. It is a pain, but to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be a problem. More of a blemish. It looks like as well it tried to desolder on this pin. Yeah. Yeah, so again, it's, you can see that just about. I know it's a bit blurry, so I apologise, but it has just melted just a little bit. But if I didn't have the foil on there, it would have been really bad. It might not even be used, like it wouldn't have been usable afterwards. It looks like as well, it's where the foil has touched the plastic is where it's gone wrong. Which is not understood, you know, not completely out of reason. Right, I'm gonna have to leave that for now. I'll solder up the cap that I was doing, and then I'll go back to that when we're done. This has got to be the most awkward cap I've actually replaced. Oop. Okay, let's not do that again. I must remember that I've got a camera above me, so I don't want to stick my head under it. I'd rather not show off my COVID haircut at the minute. Oop. Oof. The pile is slowly getting smaller. You know what I've just thought, actually, we've got a I've got a capture card in this machine. I think the drivers have installed. Might risk or tempt fate in seeing if I can get that to work on OBS, and we can actually test out live to see if I've made a right mess of this pack or not. Does the Laseractive do this video? I think it's composite only, isn't it? You know, it's right in front of me. I could probably go look. And welcome back, Ralph. Yeah, we've been having it quite wet lately. I think our storm drains as well have flooded up. So at my workplace especially, we've got our car park is just spends most of its time flooded. So what's on the agenda today, Ralph, then? Well, I know that you're doing something for your channel. Anything you can share with us? Ah, crap, where did that go? Thankfully I managed to find it. Ah, nice. I actually got a new drive bay thing lately. I think most of you already know because I complained about it over chat, but I got this little beast, 2-bay SCSI enclosure. And when it arrived, it looked like it was used as a football. Because, well, nothing really worked. The CD drive, I did try to repair that and it doesn't work. Go figure. Laser doesn't read. So, I think what I'll have to do is get some replacement bits for it. Fix it up a little. The fan on it is incredibly loud. I want to replace the fan. Now I wanted to go with something like a Noctua. Good lord. Noctuas are incredibly expensive. Like what was it? £20 per fan? At least one of the prices I saw. And this is just for a 8cm fan. So unless I'm getting that wrong, okay, this one is again being a pain to solder. Yeah, I've actually got, you know what, the funny thing is, I have a bag of tips, loads, big ones, small ones, conical, chisel, loads of them, and yet I'm still using this one, despite the fact it would probably make more sense at this point to use a smaller one. Nice. I'm not happy with that one so much, but it is now soldered on. Right, so what we'll do is put those to one side. We'll start on these. I think I'll start with the... Okay, so we've got 47s. It's just 100. Okay. Yeah, so if I just get the 47s off, I'll solder them on, and then I'll do the 100. Behave! Also, hello Reese. Nice to see you present. Oh, present. Nice to see you. That's an awful way of words. Sorry. Nice to see you have joined us, is what I probably meant to say. Are the Arctics just as good? I'll have to look into it. Yes. Whoa! Okay. Did that one? Did that one come across? Ooh! Time to open the window. Oh, right, yes, the magic smoke has been unleashed. Why do I bother? This camera doesn't want to focus. Yeah. You see that one there? That may have gone boom. It was not happy about being boiled. On the other hand, at least it's going to be easy to remove, since it's already mostly off. Whew. Yes. I was wondering. I really was wondering when that was going to happen. Okay, I don't think I'll be using hot air for these ones. Or maybe I will. It's weird, we've gone through over 100 caps and not had one explode. Except for now. And because doing it once wasn't a problem, I think this one might try to explode on me. Yep. Okay, let's not do that anymore. There you go, exploding caps into today's live stream. I'm giving you all the excitement you could possibly want and burning myself with the tweezers. Yep, there you go. Yet another one that's gone bang. So we will not be using the hot air on these ones because they are quite volatile. Oh, that means I'm going to have to clean up the board as well. Oh, I hope that smell leaves the room. I don't have my own office, so I can't get away with just the smell of burning capacitor fluid. Right. At least these ones are desoldering nicely, like with the iron, so that's a good thing at least. Right. The 47s are off, and since I've decided I'm not going to be using hot air on these, what I'm going to do is take off the singular 100 microfarad capacitor. It's alright, Reese, I had my mic muted at the start of this stream, so let's gently heat that up, not maniac. Well, I mean that works, but bending the cap 90 degrees was not exactly the ideal way of going about this. You know what, I may as well just rip that damn thing off now, because it's pretty much gone. Okay, right. I apologise for the wind. I've had to open the window because, yeah, I will get murdered for that cat smell if it doesn't go by the end of this stream. Oh, good lord, come off. There will be no more caps exploding. At least I hope not, because I hope that doesn't cause any damage, really. I'm now having to... Good lord, what happened here? Okay, so I think that 100 actually was dying, or pretty much dead. Because there's a whole lot of crap underneath that. Hello, Z. And yes, you did miss an explosion, unfortunately. You actually missed 2 explosions. I wonder why it only decided to explode now. Right, with that calamity out of the way, let's get the other caps installed. So we'll do the 100 one first now, since I've just removed it. And we'll do the 47s. I might question whether I use hot air on these ones then, since they're liable to explode. Sorry about the wind. Like I say, if it continues, oh, I see. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I have changed the microphone over to my Rode mic. I believe my headset might have just decided to die on me. So my first thing to say is I apologise if it sounds different, but hopefully you can hear me fine. this microphone acceptable to you guys? Is it going to be a problem, or...? Right, hopefully this is better for you guys now. I think I've sorted out the geotech, but just let me know if it's not working right. Right, I don't know what happened. I think, like I say, it's the geotech is no longer happy with being a daily driver anymore. In any case, if there's any more problems with it, let me know. Although I'm sure you'll be more than happy to let me know. Right, let's go back to our regularly scheduled cap explodathon. I'm just going to heat up the layers again, because whilst I was sorting out the mic, these will have cooled down. And then I'll put the 47s on. I'll try to shut the window in a minute as well, so we can be a bit more quiet. This is going very well, isn't it? First hour we've been doing relatively well. Second hour, caps explode, the microphone dies. What more do you want from your entertainment? What I've also done is I've turned down the volume of the headset just so that it has a chance to so if it does start glitching out, it hopefully shouldn't deafen any of you. Yeah, again, the windows had to be open because of the cap explosions. I'm in a room that isn't actually solely dedicated for my own work, shall we say, my video production. And because of that very reason, if there's a smell of burning electronics in here, I will be in very much trouble. Or very big trouble. So unfortunately you have to have it open for a little bit to try clear out the smell, but I'll hopefully be able to shut it soon enough. Right. Good lord, those cars are relentless. Right, we are nearly done with the 47s, so at least. Ooh, oh, that was nearly a trap. This one, inexplicably, is backwards compared to the others. I nearly would have soldered that the wrong way around. They're not the neatest, but they are installed. We'll get to doing the 10 microfarads around this. We'll do the 2 final 47s at the bottom, and I think we'll be done. I honestly didn't expect us to be done in 2 hours. I was expecting it to take a lot longer than that. But I'm happy nonetheless. That's a point. Well, for those of you who have done their own electronics, you got any stories to share about exploding components, especially expensive ones? Sorry. Did you have the power the wrong way round or something? Ooh, yeah. I think I said this before. My friend, he powered on a AMD motherboard. It was put in a bin of not working. There was no note attached to it, no nothing to say why it wasn't working. It just didn't work. He plugged it in. He didn't have to turn it on. Sorry, he plugged it in. Didn't have to turn it on, and caught fire. Quite literally, just the north bridge just decided to go up in smoke. I would joke saying that I've always known AMDs to run hot, but I think that's a little bit extreme. It was for me. I mean, to be fair, it was for both of us. We also had a, I believe it was a, yeah. So my friend also, same friend, he had a computer fan appear in his letterbox. He never ordered it. I'm guessing whoever had bought it just sent it to the wrong address. But we had no way of knowing who it was actually for. But it was a 48-volt industrial fan. We were having a lot of fun trying to see how much voltage we could actually put into it before it decided to explode. I think we ended up putting in almost double the voltage, and it was not happy, but it was still spinning. The problem is with this issue having, oh good lord, I've got my head banging on everything. The issue with the cap smell and having the window open is I don't actually know when it'll disappear, because I haven't got a great sense of smell, as in subtle things I can't sense very well, because I think it's to do with my sinuses or something like that, but in either case it just does not let me smell subtle things. I can smell when like stuff is burning, for example, but not residual stuff, so it has to be pretty bad for me to smell it. I think this is the last 10 microfarad. Could be wrong. I think it is. This isn't a new mic, it's the original mic, but I will turn the music down for you, sir. Right. Should be a little better. Right. Those two are going to be fun because they do not want to come off. They don't want to come off because of the heat required. And if I use hot air, I risk melting the cartridge connector. And the cap's exploding again. This one seems to want to come off at the very least. Okay, I might need to use the bigger ones. No, we're not using a Dremel. Well, the cap has decided to separate from its leg. Now if it came off, it came off. Doesn't matter how. Yeah, I think so. It seems like the bigger caps had actually started to fail before before the 10 microfarads. Let's try that same blissful ignorance tactic again. Nope, it's just ripping the cap off. You will come off, sir, in one way or another. one. Right. Good lord. There we go. Get the plastic off. And then we'll heat it from the side. Like so. Seems like a similar situation there. Cap started leaking before, so wasn't wanting to remove so easily. Right, let's get the two final capacitors installed. That's not the capacitors I wanted. I'm going to try to tin these capacitors just because I feel like it's going to help on this, in this case. That is, if I could keep it in one single place. One. Okay, this might not be a good idea. Right, I'll go shut that window briefly and then we'll solder the last cap on. Right, let's get that cap installed. It should be, if I've done everything right, the last cap to install.
And of course, being the last cap to install, it's going to be the most difficult. Because why wouldn't it? Right, that one is soldered in at the very least. Missed anything? I think just go around with a quick cleanup and really we're good. I don't think we'll be installing a battery today because we just won't get the chance, unfortunately. I'll have to do that off camera. But yeah, seems to be mostly good otherwise. Yeah, it is looking good. We have successfully changed all of these caps here. Sorry that the camera's a bit glitchy, I've only just realised that. So that's all that. Right, with this ROM socket, it's not gone exactly to plan with that, as you might have guessed, but the contacts themselves are still good, and like I said before, it's mostly a blemish than an actual structural problem. Plus changing it would be a real problem with the way the board is. So I'm going to opt to leave it. I know it's not an ideal thing to do, but there's not much else I can do about it. There's no shorts, there's no other damage on it, so I should be alright in doing that. I should be able to just put the run back in. And it's not like it's visible when the cart's all assembled anyway. But there we go. We have one, well, sans filter cap there. Oh, is my camera really glitched out at the minute? It might well be. Right, well, let's just see if we can change that, just for completeness sake. Actually, what value is that before I do that? Might not have one. 470 at 10 volt. I'm going to go have a look, see if I can find that cap. If I don't have it, I'm not going to bother, because it's not an SMD, so it's not as likely to leak, but I'll be back in a second. Right, so I do have a 470, it's a 16 volt, but it looks like it's the same size, so I might see about changing it. At least a tendency. At which point this will be done, and then there's not much else for it, it just needs the whole thing to go back together. Let's see if we can't just pull it out as a whole, using both leads at the same time. Doesn't look like it wants to be honest. No, it does not like that. The old cap out. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go back to using the solder socket for this. We might have the same problem we did with the battery. Yeah, we probably will. Let's put a massive blob on there, heat it up. Ooh, that almost cleared it then. Once again, it's the ground plane that's going to stop me from doing this. As I said in an early part of the stream, I am actually waiting on solder bro to come in from an eBay order. unfortunately, as much as I would love to use solid braid right now. You know what though? I did see a comment on the Discord chat, the RMC Discord, whereby the guy did this basically. He went over the edge of the table, he heated up the other side, put the stuff on the other side, and then just pulled it all the way through. Don't know if it's going to work here, but I'm certainly going to try it. I don't know if it's actually doing anything, to be honest with you. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Hey, that did it. Beautiful. Right, let's clean that up and solder the new cap in. Might actually try to clear out that second hole then. The battery holder hole. Still don't have a socket for it, but right, there we go. One freshly soldered in capacitor. Get the snips out. Oh, go on, let's try that battery. One last time. And we'll try to protect it at the very least. Protect the components around it, that is. But I'm using a thinner nozzle, and the hope is that this thinner nozzle should prevent the, well, should more directly pinpoint the heat to where I want it. And also prevent it from going into places I don't want it to go to. still going to be a pain to do. And it's just literally because it is on a massive, massive ground plane. No, I think it's just one of those things, it just doesn't want to come out. No, clear the hole very nicely. Right. Well, I'm going to try this one last time. When it doesn't work, then I think we'll call it. There's not much else I need to do on this. No, it's not clearing. It's just because it's just too many layers at that point. Alright, well, we tried. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a very quick clean over. Around where I've just been messing around. You haven't missed much else. The caps went pop, then the microphone stopped working. Well, I mean, it was still working, but it would just sounded horrible. But otherwise, we're pretty much done now. You're coming back to us after we're just about to close up, I think. So yeah. Right, anyway, that's all the capacitors on the main board of the Sega PAC done. And I think that's where we're going to leave it today. Not much else to do. I will assemble it and test it and go back and inspect it. Next time you see this board, I'll have a battery holder on it. And yeah. Then hopefully the whole laser active can go back together. Right. In any case, I think that's going to be it. Thank you all for joining me. I will hope to see you again soon. Bye.